Welcome to The Explainer. So, if you're using AI in your work, there's a really crucial skill you need to build, what I call the verification layer. Honestly, it's the one thing that separates professional, reliable work from what is basically a high-stakes gamble. Let's break down how to do it right. You've definitely been there. You ask your AI for some information, and bam, it delivers this perfectly structured, beautifully written answer. It looks so credible, it feels right. But here's the million-dollar question. Is any of it actually true? This right here is the central challenge of working with AI. So, to answer that question, we first really need to dig into the AI trust problem. Look, these tools are incredible research partners, right? They speed up our work like nothing before. But their greatest strength is also, weirdly enough, the source of their biggest weakness. Okay, so here's the core conflict. On one hand, AI gives you this eloquent synthesis. It produces polished, professional text almost effortlessly. But on the other hand, you get what I call confident fabrication. The AI can literally invent facts, citations, and statistics, and it does it with the exact same level of authority. This part is critical. There is zero connection between how good the output sounds and how true it actually is. And this creates a perfect psychological trap. You know, as humans, we are just wired to believe text that looks authoritative. You see a clean, well-argued paragraph, and your brain's instinct is to trust it. But when you're working with AI, that instinct becomes a serious liability. So how do we fight that instinct? Well, we have to consciously adopt a skeptic's mindset. And that means we have to fundamentally shift how we read everything an AI produces for us. This right here is the golden rule for this new mindset. The more polished the output looks, the more carefully you need to read it. We have to completely flip our thinking. That polished text isn't a sign of reliability, it's a trigger for intense scrutiny. The better it looks, the harder you have to hunt for what's wrong. And this really highlights the crucial mental shift you need to make. You're no longer just a proofreader, you are a verifier. Think about it. Proofreading is for your own work. You're just checking for clarity for typos. You already know the facts are real. Verifying AI output, that's a detective's job. You are checking if the information itself is real, and you have to assume every key fact is false until you can prove it's true. Okay, so where do you focus all this detective work? You can't check every single word. That would be completely inefficient. The key is to create a high-risk hit list and focus your energy on the things that are most likely to be fabricated. Your triage list should start right here. The highest risk items are specific citations, specific statistics, and any kind of regulatory or legal claims. Now, why these three? Because they are the most common and the most damaging types of AI fabrications. A fake study or a made-up number can completely undermine your work and, more importantly, your professional credibility. Let's make this real. Imagine an AI tells you that U.S. nurse turnover is exactly 18.7%. That precision, it feels incredibly authoritative, doesn't it? But that is precisely why it's a huge red flag that demands verification. This is the exact question you have to ask yourself. You know, a general statement like, it's around 20%, might be a reasonable summary. But a hyper-specific number like 18.7% must be traced back to its primary source. The AI could have the report name right, but the number wrong, or the number right, but the year wrong, or it could have just invented the whole thing from thin air. So we know what to look for. Now, how do we actually build the verification playbook? And listen, this isn't about adding some massive research project to your plate. It's about building a simple, disciplined habit. The playbook is a really simple three-step process. First, you isolate those high-risk claims we just talked about. Second, you go to the source, and I mean the primary source, not some blog post summarizing a study. Go to the actual report or the official government website. And third, confirm or remove. If you can't find it quickly, it's not real. Delete it. You have to be ruthless. There are no exceptions to this rule. And to make that even more concrete, for a citation, you search the study's exact title. For a statistic, you go to the website of the organization that supposedly published it. For a regulation, go straight to the official government agency site. You see the pattern here? It's always the same. Bypass the middleman and go directly to the source. But look, having the playbook isn't enough. The final, and I think most important step, is to turn verification into a real habit. This cannot be an afterthought. It has to become an automatic part of your workflow. And this is so critical. Don't wait until your document is
finished to start checking facts, because by then you'll be tempted to skip it. You have to verify those high-risk items the moment the AI generates them. This stops you from building your own valuable work on top of a completely fabricated foundation.
Ultimately, this is all about your professional credibility. When your boss or client asks where a specific number came from, the AI told me is a pretty weak, risky answer. I confirmed this in the original Q3 report from the WHO. Well, that's a strong professional answer. That is the difference verification makes.
And this is the ultimate takeaway. Verification is the one skill that makes AI-assisted research professionally viable. Without it, you're just gambling with your reputation. With it, you are in control, using AI as a powerful accelerator for work you can actually confidently stand behind. So, I'll leave you with this one question to consider every single time you use AI. Is it an asset, or is it a liability you just haven't checked yet? The choice to verify is what determines whether this powerful tool builds your career or puts it at serious risk. The power to decide is in your hands.